To mark the 200th anniversary of the founding of the town of Greece, the Greece Historical Society presents a Bicentennial Snapshot. Each week we take a look at a particular aspect of Greece history. Today we will share some ghost stories that have been passed down over the years. Halloween is fast approaching, and it's the time of year traditionally set aside for tales of ghost and haunted houses and other unaccountable phenomena. We don't have to go far from home to find any number of stories about spirits from the world beyond. Today we'll share with you a few of the stories that have been handed down over the years, and even some hauntings of a more recent vintage.
The ghost stories of Paddy Hill area.
The old Our Mother of Sorrows Church has been designated by local ghost hunter and the author of Haunted Rochester, Mason Winfield, as the area's most significant haunt.
First Halloween story comes from Walter Wheelahan. Footsteps overhead.
One tale concerns the church custodian. Every night at 11 o'clock, he took care of the furnace fire so that the church would be warm in the morning. One night, as he was going about his chores in the church basement, he heard footsteps overhead, as if someone was walking up the aisle to the altar. He thought it was probably the priest and dismissed it from his mind. But the same thing happened again night after night, and the custodian could think of no reason why the priest should be in the sanctuary every night. Finally, it got to be too much for the poor man to endure. He had to find out if it were indeed the priest walking above his head every night. But he didn't want to go upstairs to the church alone. So instead he hurried down the path past the cemetery to the rectory. There he found the priest sitting in his study. He said that he had been there all evening reading. Now this custodian was not a superstitious man. He did not believe in ghosts and gave no credence to the stories he had been hearing about strange happenings around the church and cemetery. He was certain there must be some logical explanation for the footsteps in the church. Nevertheless, from that night on, the custodian fixed the fires at 10 o'clock, and he was never again bothered by the footsteps of the invisible walker.
Next, The Phantom Man by Walter Wheelahan.
The Wheelahan family seemed to be particularly receptive to psychic phenomena. Walter Wheelahan often told stories of phantoms they encountered. Their home was on Ladder Road next door to Mother of Sorrows Church, and his bedroom overlooked the cemetery. He told of a phantom man who visited the Wheelahan family on several occasions. He would stand at the corner of their driveway. One night, Walter came home to find his parents in his darkened bedroom peering out the window. As Walter approached the window, his mother asked him if he had seen anything unusual as he came in the drive. "No, I didn't," Walter said as he knelt beside his father. When he looked out the window, he saw a man standing at the corner of the driveway where he had just turned in. The man wore a long, loose-fitting, dark-colored coat and a hat pulled down to shield his face. The three of them watched for a while, and then he just drifted away in the direction of the graveyard. This occurred again and again, until one night Walter could no longer stand it. He was determined to find out what would happen if he approached the figure. His parents begged him to leave it alone, saying that it might draw him away. Their pleading fell on deaf ears, however. Armed with a gun, young Walter started out. He said to his parents, "I promise not to leave the yard, and if I do, call Chief Carter from across the street, because I will be going against my will." Cautiously, he walked down the driveway, never taking his eyes off the figure. At first, he could see the man quite plainly, but as he got about halfway to the road, the figure just drifted away as it had before. They never saw the phantom man again. You'll find more of Walter Wheelahan's ghost stories and others in 8 Miles Along the Shore.
The Ghost of the Charlotte Lighthouse.
Many people believe that the ghost of the Charlotte Lighthouse is Kyler Cook. Although he was no longer the assistant keeper at the time of the accident that took his life, nevertheless he died while serving the light. By this time, the light had been moved to the end of the Charlotte Pier. During a terrible storm on the night of August 18, 1853, the current assistant lightkeeper and Cook's cousin, Sam Phillips, was unable to reach the light alone. Kyler Cook took it upon himself to row Phillips out to the light and hold the boat while the light was lit. Sadly, while Phipps was attending to the pier light, Cook's boat capsized in the rough waters, drowning him. Believers in the Charlotte, Genesee Lighthouse ghost, blamed for disembodied noises, footsteps, and sundry other mysterious happenings, attributed the disturbances to Kyler Cook.
The mysterious rocks of Kota Vista.
On December 9, 1979, the Democrat and Chronicle ran an odd 6-year-old story. For several nights in November 1973, a home in the Kota Vista neighborhood was showered with rocks of varying sizes. None was bigger than a baseball. Of course, the authorities checked into every imaginable possibility for a logical explanation. Human vandals were the first suspected, even with the slim chance that they could have remained hidden. But these rocks came from many directions at the same time. There would have had to have been secret caches of stones all over the neighborhood, as well as a conspiracy of covert and well-timed hurlers. During one onslaught, the police came in full force, sealed off the tossing range, and combed it thoroughly. Not only was the search for throwers fruitless, but the assault kept up the entire time, even targeting police cars. Fortunately for all, the wonder was over in 5 nights. So what was caused by what one writer called this rocky rain? Unlike typical ghostly or even UFO sightings, plenty of evidence was left behind. Where did so many flingable rocks come from? The oddest effect of this whole event was not the damage that was caused, but the damage that was not caused. Think of a random firing of stones. If you lobbed a couple hundred into an average neighborhood, how many people do you think might hit in a week? How many cars? This shower broke a few windows and gashed the sides of the house, but as far as it is known, no one was injured. Paranormal experts see the Grease case as a classic example of a poltergeist outbreak, illustrating one of the distinguishing features of documented outbreaks. People should have been hurt, could hardly have avoided being hurt, and they were not.
Believe it or not, these are just some of the many tales of Indians, a pirate, a peddler, men, women, children, great balls of fire, the death of the light, leprechauns, and ghosts. These folk stories are related to the bodies of water along the lakeshore, and some come from Paddy Hill, evidencing the Irish settlers' love for bewitching tales. It has been said that there was a need for an exorcism for a house on Island Cottage Road. Believe it or not, this has been our Halloween special for 2022 for the Bicentennial Snapshot. Thank you, and enjoy your Halloween!
Thanks for joining us this week. Next Tuesday, we will talk about some extreme weather events over the years. This is Maureen Whalen, inviting you to join us next Tuesday for another Bicentennial Snapshot, presented by the Greece Historical Society.
Want to learn more from the Greece Historical Society and Museum? Then click that subscribe button for more content and hit that bell icon to get notified when there's more Bicentennial Snapshots. You can visit us on the web at GreeceHistoricalSociety.org. You can find us on Facebook at Greece Historical Society. You can follow us on Twitter at GreeceNYHistory. And you can stop in at the Greece Historical Society at 595 Long Pond Road.